Welcome to our World News Update for July 17th, 2020. Over the recent months, we've seen where things have seemed to improve in some locations, and things have seemed to worsen in others. However, over this past week, it seems to be getting worse for all across the United States. While wearing masks have been forced in some states, it appears it's now becoming required by more states as time continues. Even in those states that aren't currently enforcing it, some stores are requiring masks nationwide starting this next week. Walmart and Sam's will be of those forcing all to wear masks in their stores. I remember back in the day seeing signs on the doors of many restaurants that said, "No shoes, no shirt, no service." But now we get upset because they say, "No mask"? So is it wrong to wear a mask? Well, no. I saw where someone asked, would Yeshua and the disciples wear masks issued by the Roman authorities? If you believe that they would have, do you think that they would wear the masks in synagogue while they read the Torah and worshiped? Would Yeshua have worn a mask also while he was healing the sick and raising the dead? Would the disciples have worn masks while preaching the good news of the kingdom? While these are great questions, do we have a verse that shows it's against the scriptures to wear these masks? Of course not. So why wouldn't Yeshua or the disciples wear a mask if the dictating government said they had to? If it didn't force one to break the commandments of Yahweh, what's the problem? The concern isn't about wearing masks. The concern is the supposed cause for wearing the mask. The concern is the story and how these masks supposedly help with the cause. The concern is how many states are prohibiting church gatherings of more than 10 people, but allowing large protests that end in violence. The concern is how we're hearing reports of hospitals labeling most all deaths in their facilities as being caused by this new plague and not showing the true cause of death. The problem is what appears to be a manipulation of facts to force something on the masses. This is the concern at hand. And this is why so many people don't want to wear the masks. Many have shown concern how this seems to be a control issue more than anything. Some have paralleled how this is very similar to how things began with the Jews under Germany. The Jews were forced to wear the gold stars. Now the common phrase is, just wear the mask. What's the big deal? It's for the greater good. No one is taking your rights away. Now, is that a parallel that's going too far? Well, when we consider the fact that the governor of Arkansas just announced that the Arkansas National Guard will now be transporting patients who tested positive for this new plague to isolation facilities, well, I'm not so sure. I mean, how long have we been hearing about FEMA camps? Now, while I'm sure that's not where they're taking these people right now, it still seems eerily similar to how the Jews were taken off to camps. A big concern is how the mainstream news is reporting so much that seems to go unquestioned by so many. Since our last World News Update, many other issues have taken center stage as well. Racism and riots across the country are hitting different places. Riots that have many elements to show they've been staged, with having pallets of bricks placed in strategic locations. However, these pallets of bricks never seem to make it to the major news outlets. Then, there are many wanting to defund their local police. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying every police officer is perfect. However, have we really considered what would happen if you defund your local police? The next step after that would be for martial law to be brought in. And now we have a supposed coin shortage. Now, we've heard for so long how one day we will be a cashless society. Well, it seems we're definitely closer to that reality. Which, of course, brings up the conversation of the mark of the beast for many. Now, I believe the most dangerous element here is how people have become afraid of their neighbors, family, and friends. And a hate is forming against those who don't want to comply to the government. Those who are willing to question are now considered the enemy. So, what could be coming next? Could it be it's just a vaccine? Come on, it's for the greater good. What happens when you're told you can't enter a store or business without proof of the vaccine? What happens when you can't go to public events or get on a plane without proof of receiving the vaccine? Could we really be seeing the initial stages of getting people used to things like this? I mean, let's face it, a scenario like that doesn't seem so far-fetched now, and it's very similar to what we read in the book of Revelation. Revelation chapter 3. He also forced everyone, small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on his right hand or on his forehead, so that no one could buy or sell unless he had the mark, which is the number of the beast, or the number of his name. How close to something like this could we really be? I don't know. However, it seems a conditioning to accept something like this could be starting to form right in front of us. Think of it this way. In the last several months, it seems the government has successfully dictated to people when they were allowed to be outside and where they were allowed to go. So, could a vaccine be the next thing the government will say has to happen? How safe would that vaccine be? I mean, even if half of what is being said about this new vaccine they are working on is true, I don't believe it's something our Heavenly Father wants placed in our bodies. We're living in a time that seems to be uncharted territory. It's a time that has many truly wondering just how close we are to the end times of the Scriptures. As I've said before, we don't know the future. However, we know the one who does. So in the coming days ahead, pray more as you walk through your everyday routines. Make more time to read and study. Make it a point to invest more time into your relationship with our Heavenly Father. That way, regardless of what lies ahead, we know we're in good company. Keep your hearts humble in Him as we all learn and grow together in His Word. Blessings and shalom.